What Gene Genlin did was developed what he called an experiencing scale. And this is a scale from 1 to 7, which refers to the way and the quality with which a person experiences themselves as they're talking or relating to their therapist. So if we think about someone who speaks about themselves in the third person or is super intellectual, we would rank them at a 1 through to the middle of the range at about a 4, where they're talking about their feelings, up to 7, in which someone is really deeply in exploring their inner experience and the meaning their body has been holding all this time about an event or an issue or a health issue or whatever a decision they're making, whatever they're trying to explore. They think that the effectiveness of increasing the amount of emotional and embodied experiencing improves therapy is because you get a clearer understanding at your head, heart, and gut levels of what's going on in the side and why you're thinking, feeling, and reacting as we do. And neuroscience is now finding that brain neurons are actually not just in the brain. They're wrapped around the heart area and also exist in our gut. And Candace Pert found that all the neurotransmitters have receptors both at heart, head, and gut levels. So this is being backed up by science now, whereas in the 50s it was more a guess. More contact with feelings allows them to be worked on, and the finessing allows them to be worked on with more precision. And so they get processed and integrated more effectively. And also a stronger, more sensitive connection with healthy, appropriate emotions can energize us to act and change in outer circumstances. We become more comfortable with our feeling states. We understand our system, our inner system better, and so we can choose better ways to affect change in our life or manage whatever's going on. So that's what they think are the keys to success around improving the level of experiencing that our clients have. So if you go on to the next slide, Stephen, what I've put here that will be available to you when you all look at the slideshow later, and you're not just listening to me, is the 7 scales in a nutshell. So a client simply talks about events, ideas, or others. At level 2, they're referring to self, but without expressing emotions. At level 3, they're expressing emotions, but only as they relate to external circumstances. So that's the client we hear who's always talking about the other person, what was happening out there. At level 4, I think this is where many of our clients operate, and we start to see the start of shift in their therapy, is the client focuses directly on their own emotions and they're thinking about themselves. In stage 5, they explore their own inner experience. They get curious about themselves. They get safe enough to think, I really want to go inside and understand myself more, rather than talking about how my boss should change or my wife or husband should do this or my friend did that. So they're starting to think and want to be more understanding about their own inner workings. Stage 6, they're starting to gain awareness of implicit feelings and meanings. So those feelings and meanings that haven't really been articulated in their lives and in their own awareness, but have been living in their lives. So they're starting to go, oh, that's new and fresh and familiar at the same time. And 7 is very high level experiencing. It's showing an ongoing process of in-depth self-understanding. So these levels of experiencing and understanding these exist can really help us as therapists to think, where is my client in terms of how they relate to themselves? because the higher level of experiencing can help us with their therapeutic work. So if we go to the next slide, I've just put up a short example of low-level experiencing. So just pause for a moment because I know you're all reading it. So what you'll notice here is that there's a lot of the use of the past tense. So this person's talking about the past and relating to it as done, not talking about something that happened to the past and is still impacting them in the present. So they've got some disconnection going on there. They're reporting external events, and there's no words that describe emotions in there that hold the emotional content or tone or impact on them. So that we would call low-level experiencing, and we often have clients who talk about that. This is middle-level experiencing. So you're starting to get into the 3-4 range. And I'll just give you a few moments to get across the writing there and have a read. So again, you can hear this client telling a story, giving the narrative, and now you're starting to hear the impact on them in emotional ways. So they're starting to use emotional words. But there's not much elaboration about what kind of disturbance for them, why were they disturbed, what was the impact on them, more what they thought should and shouldn't happen, and so on. So this is middle-level experiencing. This is where a lot of our clients will tell their stories. High-level experiencing. Now here you see the pausing. And it's kind of vague, and it's not, they're sensing inwardly, it's not a story as such. They're looking for what it means for them. Notice that it's more in the present tense. And they don't quite know all of it yet. So they're pausing at that edge and sensing and waiting for their body to let them know the more. And they'll start to use metaphorical language. They'll start to talk in metaphors and images and sensations. Okay, so if